Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Boss Ladies Connect podcast. I am your girl, Tisha. You guys are joining the Boss Lady Nation. We are continuing our series on doing business well. We've been talking about different ways in which we can just really just step into another level of our business, right? And make sure that we're operating it well from a holistic standpoint. And so the conversations around this have been great. I've been able to have some awesome guests that have come and talked to us in the areas of systems, what systems to implement in your business and in your life. We've talked about trademarking. We've talked about creating a team. We've talked about leadership and how to really show up as a leader and brand yourself. And I guess also recognizing that your leadership style is a part of your brand. It's an extension of your business and yourself, right? As an individual. So today we are going to talk a little bit about the tough seasons as an entrepreneur. I've been a full-time entrepreneur for 4 years now. And y'all, it has not been easy by any stretch of the imagination. And my imagination can really stretch. So it has not been easy. And I want to talk a little bit about that space. I want to talk about the testing. I want to talk about the stretching. I want to talk about just when it is tough financially, right? And so I'll start with when I was thinking about this episode. First of all, I have some other folks that I was gonna have a conversation with around tough seasons in business, and I may still have one or two people come on and share their story. But then I said, "Girl, you could talk about this. You got your own story, okay?" And I think that is true for anyone who has put on the entrepreneur hat, anyone who has put on the side hustle hat. There are going to be some tough seasons. I've talked before in podcasts about how like every other week I'm like, what am I doing? I'm ready to quit, right? But today I kind of want to go, I want to get into the nitty gritty a little bit more, um, share some stuff that I think just really helps put it into context, right? And so I remember, y'all, I remember when I had like $50. I remember having $50 in um my account, like period. My savings, my personal, everything, and just waiting for the next payments to come in or waiting for my husband's next check to come in and just sitting back like feeling completely defeated, right? Like y'all, so I'm gonna let y'all into like my brain, like my mind, the conversations that I have with myself, because I think, you know, there is definitely a lot of people talk around mindset. As an entrepreneur, you have to get your mind together, because if you don't get your mind together, you're not going to make it. It's you're not going to make it. Just life, just be life in, and life really happens out here in these entrepreneur streets when you don't have a steady check coming in, when you have to make the money, right? You have to be creative. You have to create something that is in need or in demand that people are willing to pay for. And you don't always have that formula together, right? You don't always have the right messaging. You don't always have the right wording. You don't always have the right service. It very much is a trial and error. Like you're building something from scratch. The companies that you work for, they've already tested, they've already had their ups and downs, and they've found that product or that service that has a return on it, right? And so that's how come they're able to commit to giving you that steady check. But you are now in the space where you have to create that for yourself. And y'all, I'm not going to even lie. I'm not going to lie out here in these streets and say that it's easy. It's not. And so when you have bills that need to be paid, right? You have things that need to be done. Looking at your account and seeing $50, asking people for $20 so you can get some gas in your car, that plays with your psyche like never before. For me, I definitely was like, I'm a whole grown woman, right? With a whole master's, with a whole, bachelor's, with straight experience, my resume don't look all chumpy. You know what I'm saying? Why the heck why am I not making any money? Like, why is this money not flowing? And so I personally, um, have gone through seasons where I'm just like, yo, like what am I doing? And then you get, and so then when you start getting that way, like I'll be telling myself, girl, this don't make no sense. This don't make no daggone sense. You got a full master's. Why you don't have no money in your account? Why you don't have no money? Like I'm just gonna be real today, okay? I'll be beating myself up. I'll be beating myself up. And so then what happens is, rightfully so, because you need money to survive, right? People need to eat. You need a roof over your head. And as a female, I am an independent one and a functional one, right? I don't consider myself stupid, you know what I mean? So like, why can't I why am I not contributing? Why am I not financially contributing, right? Why am I not able to bring in something on a steady? And then you're doing all these things and you're pouring and you're showing up in these places, but there's no dollar signs attached to this thing, right? You're still very much building your brand, building your credibility, building your expertise, and people are not paying you for it, right? You haven't tapped into that flow, that continuous flow of finances. And so I'm questioning, like, well, what the heck? So what happens is you go into the desperate mood. You go into a place of desperation where I hate being, y'all. When you are moving from a place of scarcity, it is a horrible place to move from, right? To make decisions. And so now I'm like, all right, I'm on my grind. Got to get me a job. Got to give me a give me some full time. Do this part time. Give me some part time. Do this full time. Whatever. I got to do something. And so I'm putting in all these applications, but ain't nobody calling. Nobody's calling, or if they call, you have an interview and then they hire somebody else or you're overqualified. It was just like, it was not a space where it was like I wasn't trying to or willing to work. And so let me go back, let me roll back to how I started this entrepreneur journey. A lot of people think that I was like, ooh, I heard from the Lord to leave my job and I just left. Like I was like, deuces, right? Oh, how courageous, how fearless is she jumping out here on faith? Well, it took a girl 2 years before I actually left. um, because and it took 2 years of closed doors of trying to do a different option, right? So I was trying to get the promotions and wasn't getting promotions. I was trying to move to other departments and wasn't getting I was having interviews in all of those spaces. Like I was qualified and I had interviews that went really, really well. But what I was finding was a lot of nepotism in the space, in the industry that I was in, which was higher education. And and a lot of the times the positions that I was looking for, they already had individuals in mind about who they were hiring. They were just going through the formalities. And so I would find myself just like the doors not opening and it just wasn't making sense. And then even when I started lowballing, like trying to take positions that paid less than the one that I had, I wasn't getting any callbacks. And so eventually I was kind of squeezed. I was put in a place where I had to, like it wasn't working. It was not working anymore. And then I finally surrendered and I'm like, Lord, it's clear that you don't want me to have a 9 to 5. You want me to move into this entrepreneur space. And that's how come these other doors are opening. And so I just share that to say that it's never been a thing about not working. And so when I stepped out on faith and I made that decision to leave my 9 to 5, it just became very, you know, questioning like God, like why would you have me leave to not be able to do this or not be able to, financially support or just be in these tight situations all of the time, like, literally living paycheck to paycheck, credit card to paycheck, right? Um, at one point, I had accrued about $10,000 in credit card debt. And I'm just like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? What is happening? And just really challenging and um, questioning that. And it's, but still having this. still having this belief and this faith and this thing inside of me that was like, no, this is the path that you're supposed to be on. This is the space that you're supposed to be moving in. But y'all, it is very challenging. It is very, very challenging when the numbers don't look like what you're producing, what your value is, um, or even look like, what you're putting out there, the content, the information, the stuff, it doesn't look that way. And just, trying to get a grasp on the money. The other thing that happens in those tough seasons is you start pivoting in all different kinds of directions, right? Like, well, maybe I should try this, and then maybe I should do this. And then this person comes and tells you that you should probably do a course, and then you should probably do this, and you should probably do that. And then you're spread all over because you're moving from a place of desperation because you are trying to make it work, right? At the end of the day, you're trying to make it work. And there is a level of patience and focus that is needed in the midst of the storm that you find yourself in to maintain. I love this. So I'm looking at my devotional for today, and today's devotional, I'm recording this on the 9th of October. Today's devotional reads, Lord, I long to live in the lane you have paved for me. Drench me in your Holy Spirit as I walk unapologetically in your gifts and assignment. That has been my cry throughout any season of drought that I have experienced. What I will say in that is that you have to live in the lane that God has paved for you. And your lane may not be as easy or direct or as cut and dry as the next person's lane. You're definitely going to find yourself in different seasons, in different spaces than other people that are around you. But what I do know is that everybody has the seasons and they are reciprocal. They continue to come in new and different ways. And so one of the things that I have questioned along this journey, one of the things that I've said to the Lord is like when can it just be steady money? That's all I'm saying. Like can it just be steady money that show up when it's supposed to show up? Like, can I just get that? Can I just get that? So I can like effectively budget, I can feel comfortable, I can feel stable. I promise I'll stay on the things that you've told me to do. I just don't understand why it just can't be steady. And so, because that would make me feel really good, right? That would make me feel really confident in this space that you've called me to, even though I illuminate in this space, right? Even though I feel most fulfilled in this space, that piece of not being certain financially just like runs me up a wall. Like it is a thing. It is a whole thing for me. And I'm sure it's a thing for everybody, but it is a thing for me. And what I begin to think about is this mindset that I used to have around being tested. I used to feel like the Lord, like he tests you on purpose, like almost like a punishment. Like he's gonna put this test in front of you. And until you pass this test, you can't, you heard that. Until you pass this test, you can't move on to the next thing. And so I used to be like, oh Lord, let me get ready for my test. Like, when you're a little kid and you about to sit in the classroom and you got your number 2 pencil and you praying that you get all the answers right so you could pass this test so you can go to the next grade. And so I used to feel like that, but in my feeling like that, I also felt like it was a punishment. I also felt like God was punishing me. Like there was a lesson, like almost like a hand slap. Like you have to take this test because I'm going to slap your hand. And I've come to learn that that's not our God is a good God. Like that's not how he does us. He's not slapping us on the hand. He's not punishing us, right? That there I had to shift my perspective in how I was looking at the test. And so I definitely consider this finance piece a test. I definitely consider it a test, but I started shifting the way that I looked at tests in my life, especially as it concerns my business. In the entrepreneur space, I have been tested like no other space, right? Like I've had tests in my marriage. Those tests are different than this test in this entrepreneur space. I've had tests in my, parenting. Those tests are different than this test in this entrepreneur space. This test in this entrepreneur space is like tied to identity, tied to value, tied to worth, tied to your effort. It's like tied to so many things, right? And so, what the perspective shift that I've taken on test is that, um, so when you take a test in school, you typically you typically take the test, you get like, what you got wrong. So like when you take your test, your teacher grades it and you'll see like the X's or you'll see the circles. And then sometimes when you see the X's, they also give you like an explanation, like this is what you should have done. If you didn't get an explanation, majority of the times you can go back and be like, I want to go over my test. I want to see what I got wrong and like where I went wrong. And so then you get like a breakdown of how to get the answer right. Well, in these tests that I experienced, I don't necessarily get a breakdown of how I got the answer wrong. What I feel like is the test is a stretching of a knowledge, right? A stretching of something in me. And so it'll happen. And sometimes I don't even know that's test. And sometimes I don't even know that what I did wrong in the stretching, right? And so, perfect example. So when I took my loan officer's exam, when you take that test, it's like a lot of preparation, a lot of studying, a lot of courses that you're taking to give you the information, right? You then, as the individual, have to take the information and marry it together, make it make sense. You can't just memorize it. It's not the type of test that you can do from memory. You have to be able to connect this principle with this formula, with this situation, and bring it all together. So there is a deeper level of understanding, a deeper level of knowledge that you have to have in order for you to pass this particular test. So when you pass that test, if you fail, which I did the first time, you don't know what you got wrong. It doesn't give you a printout of all the questions that you answered and tell you which ones you got right and which ones you got wrong. So, and I feel like this is how my stretching test with the Lord is, right? I don't get a printout of the test. I don't get the right answer and see what I got wrong, and then so that I can go back and correct it. What I then had to do for that test to retake it is I had to go back to the drawing board. I had to study some more. I had to get some other tools. I had to get like a study guide, some other tools that kind of helped me pull out information, better know it, better understand it, take a deeper dive in. And that's what I feel like the tests that we get from the Lord are. They cause us to go deeper, like to go deeper with Him, to dive in, to do some more studying, to do some more reading of His word, to spend some more time with Him, to get some more understanding, to be in His presence, right? To kind of, begin to understand a little bit more, and then to go back and to take that new word or that new knowledge or that new growth that we've gained as a result. And so, and then allow that to help us move forward to the next space. And so even with the lending exam, I had to do the same thing. It stretched me. It caused me to not only take the first bit of knowledge that I had, it caused me to take that and to develop it. It caused me to take that and to add on top of it. So when I went to go take that test again, it was like, oh, I know this, I know that, I understand this, I understand that. Like I had to get like 2 or 3 wrong because I got like a 90 something on it, right? But it was because I had to stretch myself. The first a bit of knowledge or information that I got was not enough. It was a starting point, but I had to go deeper and I had to add other tools and things on to build and to stretch me and to help me to be able to interpret things or to see things in a different way. And with that new knowledge and with that new understanding and with that new time spent developing and growing in that area, I was able to come back and almost like it was a whole nother person taking the test. Like I had a whole new source of knowledge. I had a whole new source of understanding. I had a different perspective on how I saw the exam, how I saw the questions, right? I was looking for different things. I was able to dissect, oh, they didn't have that in there. So they're not talking about that. That eliminates this possibility or this scenario. This couldn't possibly work in this thing. Whereas the first time, it was just kind of like, okay, what word is that? Okay, that word goes with this word. That word normally goes with this formula, but not really having a good understanding. And I feel like the tests and the tough seasons of life, which I feel like are tests, are storms. I hate to use the word test because in my mind, tests have such a negative connotation, like you got to get it right, but it's really stretching. So let's change the word, right? The stretchings of life, the seasons, the tougher seasons of life, that they're there to develop and to build something within us. And every time I say I go around this entrepreneurial dry drought season, I show up differently, right? I definitely show up differently. The first time I was like, ooh, okay, running through this, running through that, charging this, charging that. Your girl not doing that no more, right? I show up differently. And the last time I went through the bout or the season, I definitely made a decision that I'm not going to move in a scarcity mindset. I'm going to keep moving in abundance. I'm going to speak abundance. It's coming. The money is coming. The funds are coming. Don't worry about X, Y, and Z. Just move in X, Y, and Z. Just do that thing. Don't worry about it. It's going to come. And when you move in that space or in that perspective, you show up differently and different things you are attracted to you. But when before I was moving in a space of, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? How am I going to have this? What's going to happen? This doesn't make any sense. I can't get anything. And so now my mind and my space is filled with that stuff, and I'm showing up and I'm making decisions and I'm doing things and signing on to stuff and doing work that's stressing me out and making it worse, and just not building or focusing on the thing that I need to build and focus on. And that is a an asset that I only was able to develop by just going through the process. And so when people talk about um, entrepreneurship, and they always say like the process, you got to go through the process. The process is there to truly develop you, to truly develop you. We've all been through processes, and it's so unexpected. The things that you experience are so unexpected. They show up differently, but every time they show up or every time you go through them, it pulls something new out of you. It develops something new in you. Girl, stuff you ain't even know you needed to develop, stuff you wasn't even trying to develop. How about, not that I didn't even know, I don't really want it. Like, can't we just function without that? Like, because I'll be okay. Um, but yeah, so those seasons, for me, I think that has been one of my toughest things about being out here in these streets, these entrepreneur streets, doing this, is the amount of uncertainty, right? You could even uncertainty and disappointment. Disappointment is my thing, right? Because you can do all the things, right? You can get the coach, you can take the class, you can take the course, you could do the business plan, you could strategize and have it all down to a T. And which I've done. I've done programs, and it was beautiful. Oh my goodness, the programs looked beautiful. The content was quality. The information that you were getting was going to be transformative. Did my marketing and nobody signed up. You talk about somebody being disappointed, child. You talk about somebody just feeling like, oh, I'm a complete failure. What the heck? What the hell? Y'all just forgive me, because what my mind's thinking was, what the hell? What the hell? What the hell am I doing? Like, what? Nobody wants this? And then knowing and feeling defeated that it didn't work, having people check in with you, how's your program going? What you about to say? What you about to say? I got one person signed up. No, oh, it's good. What you gonna say? Going through that and having to get back up, having to say, okay, that didn't work this time, you know, but it there's still a value in it. There's still something. How try it again. Even if you don't revamp the thing, just getting back up and trying again. There's something to be said about that after a disappointment, after a failure, after what you feel like is a slap in the face. You know, put in all this work, all this effort, and that thing ain't manifest. Okay. Hmm. um, or do something, you get one person, you get one client. And actually, I think I got to take that back. I didn't not get anybody. I got one person on my first one. And if I would have checked in with some other entrepreneurs, if I would have been a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more transparent, what I would have found out is there are people that are doing successful and awesome things and had zero people at their first thing. And so, but what I did with that is I stopped the program. I went into like a slump. I was like, oh, maybe I should pivot. Maybe this is not the thing for me. When quite honestly, if I launch something and someone pays for that something, then now what I should have done with that is take from that, pour into that individual, take the testimonials from that individual and build upon what it was that I was doing, because it was an indication that there was a need for it, by the mere fact that somebody was willing to pay me for it. But instead, that's not how I saw it, right? And so, I had to go around that circle again to get that together, because I didn't pass that test. I thought the test was do the work and then serve people. And that wasn't the test, right? That wasn't it. And so it's just really, really interesting, the spaces and the ways in which you find yourself being stretched, and the seasons that you find yourself in, that you're in by yourself, especially when you don't have a blueprint and if you don't have a community. I think that community has been everything for me. Being around people who are like-minded, but not just like-minded, but on different levels of the spaces that you're looking to move in. So you do need those people who are at the same level, who are building with you, who are going through the trenches with you at that same beginning stages. Then you do need the people who are ahead of you. You definitely need the people who are ahead of you. I would dare say that you need the people who are ahead of you more than you need the people that are right there with you, because y'all will mess around and quit together, right? Because it's like the blind leading the blind. You haven't been there, so you don't even know. I mean, but so much you can encourage her when you're looking at $50 in your account. You know what I'm saying? So, and she looking at zero, girl, yeah, you better go get a job too. Um, and so, but when you're able to be with people who be like, girl, I had $0. I went into debt behind X, Y, and Z. And now I'm here making 6, 7-figure months and years, you know what I mean? And so that's a different type of encouragement. It just reminds you that there is a process that we all have to go through, and our process looks different. It doesn't mean that you've missed the mark. It doesn't mean that you've missed the vision. It just means that you got a little bit, your journey is a little bit different. And every piece, you have to absolutely believe that every piece of the journey is building you for the other side, is building you for when you walk in a land of milk and honey, right? Is building you for when you're producing, and now you're on the other end of this, and you're coaching and you're consulting and you're telling other people things, and you're encouraging and motivating other people, or you're sharing your story. And so that's another reason why podcasting has been such a gem to me, because I've been able to firsthand hear about people's journeys, right? Because the journey is the thing that we can quit on, right? Nothing happens overnight, and like it bugs me, it annoys me actually when people start talking about, oh, well, this one just did it, you could just do that, and this one just did, like, Girl, bye. Like, it is work. It is a process. It is not an overnight thing. It may look like it's an overnight thing, but it's not an overnight thing. And so, um, hop on for the ride. Hop on for the ride. Like the devotional that I read this earlier said, allow this to be your prayer. Lord, I long to live in the lane you have paved for me. Y'all, it is not the lane that I paid for myself, because my lane would have had me being stable, with things coming in, with money being where I wanted to be. That is my lane. That's how my lane looks. It looks real consistent and steady. Um, but drench me in your Holy Spirit. It is not without his spirit, his guidance, his leading, his comfort, and me being able to be reminded that it's okay, that I'm on track, that he's still going to take care of me, that has helped me get back up from times of disappointments, from times of doubt, from times of depression, from times of anxiety, from times of scarcity mindset and desperation. Y'all, I hate running around desperate for something. That is such a horrible space to be in, right? And it says, drench me in your Holy Spirit as I walk unapologetically in your gifts and the assignment that he's given. And so this is the current assignment, you know, this is a current assignment. And another thing I had to learn is, um, another thing I had to learn is to accept the assignment, right? Accepting the assignment, because when them doors was not opening, you know, when I was applying for different jobs to try to supplement the income and things, and those doors weren't opening, then on top of feeling disappointed or failed as an entrepreneur, now I'm feeling now my worth is coming into play or into question, right? So you ain't worthy to work this little job? Like, you got all these degrees, you ain't worthy for that? You what? I'm not worthy for half the salary I was making before? What are you talking about, right? And so then that can take you down the spiral that make you feel even more defeated, right? Um, and so what I had to learn was to embrace my assignment. So I had to embrace my assignment. He ain't called me to work that job, right? He ain't called me to do it. If the doors are supposed to be open, he would have opened them. They would have been opened. Stop taking your path or your plan as the plan or the path that you're supposed to be on. He has paved the way for you. And it don't look like uh working at Michael's or working at Target or working wherever, you know? It doesn't look like that. He hasn't paved it for you. And getting those thoughts and those things out of your head, um, stop being concerned with, oh, listen, let me go back to a word that was in this devotional. It says, as I walk unapologetically, child. I feel like I need to do a whole nother podcast on another reason some of my seasons was tough is because I was so worried about what other people would think. Why you don't have no money? Why you not making no money? Why you not just getting a job here? Why you not just doing such and such? Why you got a degree? Like, all those things would be in my mind, and I had to become unapologetic about the place and the season that he's put me in, right? I know that I'm not, um, I know that I'm a hard worker. I know my value that I bring to the table. I know that I can get the job done, right? And whatever job it is, whatever assignment it is. But if I'm not on that assignment, then it's not called for me to do that work. But I had to know that about myself, and not just taking on what I think or what I heard or what I believe that other people think or feel. And so all those things have been greatly challenging. That sums up my tough seasons of entrepreneurship. Um, and I hope that me getting into more of the nitty gritty of like what goes on in my mind in the battles will help you understand, if you don't already, why mindset is the thing that so many people talk about when it comes to entrepreneurship. Because your mind, you got to be able to control it, stop the chaos, stop the downward spiral, put it on a path that is the path that has been paved out for you. You have to say, no, 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 Letitia, we don't have time to get focused on that journey, that path, that walk, because this is the one that you've currently been assigned with. And what are you going to do with this assignment that you currently have? Because trying to go that way and trying to hop on that train and being mad about that train not working and being mad about the current assignment that you have is not helping you further your journey and fulfill your purpose and do the things that you've been called to do. So mindset is everything. It is everything. The Bible says renew your mind daily because it's everything. I'm going to say it one more time. It is everything. Renewing your mindset is everything, not just in entrepreneurship, but in life. It is everything. Okay. I should call this episode, It Is Everything. But y'all, so I just wanted to hop on here and share this with you. I hope it encourages someone. Yeah, y'all, it'd be hard out here in these streets. It's tough. It is not glamorous. Okay. It is not. It really is not. I mean, we have a great way of, posting the highlights, which we should be happy about the highlights, but we don't talk enough about them highlights child, the tough seasons come more than the highlights, right? But I think the tough seasons make us. They allow us to really shine. And so until next time, ladies, talk to you later.